Welcome back to the Block PC. I am Robin. This is my wonderful co-host Dallas. Welcome back. This week's episode, we want to talk about hope.
I feel like I wanted to do hope because I was like, let's do something like I want to do something like positive.
Yeah.
That, like get you to look forward to the future. So that's why I chose this one.
That's what's up.
What does hope mean to you personally, and how does it influence your life?
Okay. I want to say, like, when I think about hope, I think of the word hopeful, like, as in terms of, like, what's going to happen in the future, like, being positive about the unknown, what could happen. Just staying positive for me. What about you?
I think for me, it's like, I think about all the good things that's happened, all the bad thing that's happened, and like all that's led me to right here, where I think I'm like my smartest self. I think I'm my most resilient self. And so even with all the things that I could say went wrong in life, I still got to a place where I'm proud of. So being hopeful that, like, if that's what I could accomplish here, what else can we accomplish for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And I think
being positive about the future.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. At
that's
least
what's up.
I don't know. I feel like when you think positively and you kind of work at remaining hopeful, it has like this unconscious effect on everything.
Yeah.
Like if you're always negative, I feel like your life will start to project negativity a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Without you being able to say it. So if you're trying to at least find silver linings and be positive, like small things in your life start to, or at least you don't take for granted those small things that can make you happy, and you can build something off that.
I think it's so easy to just dwell in the negative that, like, I think a lot of people forget what positivity actually feels like sometimes, and how much of a big effect it can have on your everyday life. Being hopeful for something positive to happen versus, whatever, it's probably not going to happen anyway. But just that slightest amount of, like, it actually could happen, or this actually might work out in my favor. I feel like that's kind of what being hopeful is about. Like, just being positive and not letting all the negative that can happen, like, get in the way of life. Yeah.
What strategies do you use to cultivate hopefulness or positivity?
Strategies.
On a day-to-day basis.
That's a hard one. I don't really have many strategies, not that I can come up with off the top of my head. I would be like just telling the complete story if I got up here and was like, yeah, I do this and this and this. I don't. I just my strategy is just trying to think positive, and that's easier said than done because, so many things can happen in the day that could just be like, man, this was not a positive day at all. But I guess what I'm trying to say, like, yeah, my number one strategy would just be, like, controlling my thoughts, I guess, and, like, understanding that bad things do happen, but, finding a way out of that so it doesn't take over.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I think it definitely depends on, like, the moment, but I think for me it's creating attainable goals for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Something that's hopeful and something that can keep you positive in the future is, like, something to work towards. Like, I want to do A, B, C, F, G. Okay, well, how do you get there?
Yeah.
If I want to learn a new language, which is really cool, how do I get there? Okay, a goal is to practice maybe an hour a night or something like that, or 2 hours a night. Something that you can actually do and achieve that keeps you on track. So it's not like you're burning out and you're just like losing passion and all that stuff. You're constantly like growing and getting better and turning out for the good.
When I think about hope, I kind of think also about, like, having faith. I feel like those two kind of go hand in hand. You want to be hopeful and you want to have faith that something is going to work out. Two positive words that I feel like you should keep close: hope and faith. Because even if you don't know what the future holds for you, just having that hope, like I said, that something good is coming, I feel like it'll take you a long way. Longer than thinking the opposite direction. So,
how do you support others, do you think, and help to cultivate that as well?
As far as, like, how do I support others in having
remaining hopeful and remaining positive, if they're feeling down, all that?
I try to tell people, friends, family, what I would want to be told myself if I was down and I didn't know how to have hope. I feel like I love support and I love to give support. So with the ways I try to like show it is like if my friend told me like, "Hey Robin, you did a great job today," I'm like, "Dang, that made me feel good."
Mm-hmm.
How many of my other friends are doing a great job? It probably don't feel like they're doing a great job. Go tell that friend, "You doing a good job. You're doing amazing. You're doing great."
Right.
And just feeding back the energy that I want to receive on myself.
Like
you know,
that.
like so. What about you?
I think it's just for me. It's showing up for people how they need
Yeah.
you to show up for them. You know, I think a lot of times like I am gonna ask someone like, "What do you need?"
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to assume or guess, and then like they're like, "That's not what I needed," and it
Yeah.
didn't help the situation. So it's like, "What do you need?" Well, right now, nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at bare minimum, I want people to know at least that like they have a safe space that they can go to if they need to vent, if they want to
Yeah.
share good or bad things. Like just letting people know you're available
Yeah.
for that kind of thing, I think helps. And it allows people to kind of have an outlet when they do have bad days. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I need someone to talk to real quick. It's like, oh, I remember Dallas said, you know, they're always there to listen
Yeah.
for me. You know, and I think it's also important to actually use those lifelines when you need them.
Yeah.
I think that helps people, at least helps me stay positive, is like, your friends want to be there for you.
Yeah.
They want to help you. So it's important that you use them
Yeah.
in a way that's like, hey, I need help. And
Use
I would
them.
love your advice.
Don't
That's what
abuse
I mean by that.
Use
Wait a
them.
minute.
Don't abuse them.
Ooh.
Use them, but don't abuse them. And I won't get too deep into that, but yeah, like giving on to others what you want, giving on to you. I remember our first episode we talked about like kindness and stuff like that. Just touching back on that, like I'm hoping for the best for you in any situation, in any aspect, like, and that's me being kind, that's me giving back, and I would hope in return that you want the best for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you know, I believe in feeding out positive energy, positive vibes, in order to receive that in return.
So, I think it's important to note that like there is a bad, I don't want to say bad, but like a dark side of like positivity and
Yeah.
hoping. Like I believe that like there are times when reality is kind of outweighs
Mm-hmm.
positive thinking, right? Like, and the first thing that comes to my mind is people who are in and or have been in like abusive relationships,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of the time, it seems like what would keep someone there is like the hope that this person's gonna get better.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and the belief of what they could be and not what they
Yeah.
actually are. And so I think sometimes though, like toxic positivity
Yeah.
and that like toxic kind of hoping can be detrimental. And so it's important to understand the situation you're in, right? Like
Yeah.
positivity and hopefulness should have positive impacts on your life.
Yeah, for
And if
real.
that's not matching up, then you know what I'm saying? I think that's when you should reevaluate what's going on. Like I can be as hopeful as I want, but
Yeah.
if nothing is actually changing,
You gotta know when to get up.
you got to know when to get
Yeah.
up, like literally.
I've seen that a lot though, so I can definitely relate to that. Not the abusive relationship part, but just like, you know, friends and family who struggle with that part. And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, if it's not good for you, why are you still there? Why do you still stick around? Because they have hope that situation is gonna get better. But it's just like, but at what point do you see when it's not getting better? Do you take action in your own life and make that switch?
And I think it's important, like as friends, especially, like
Mm-hmm.
to not be bystanders in those situations. Obviously, people are gonna make their own decisions.
Yeah.
But as a friend, it's like you want to see what's best for your people, and
Yeah.
it's like it's easier on the outside looking in always, and it's always
yeah.
so easy to be like, well, why wouldn't they leave?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they leave? But it's like you've been. I feel like a lot of people, at least at bare minimum, have been in some form of like toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And how hard it was to leave because you're just like, but what if? But what if? But
Yeah.
what if? And that hope and it's like I would love someone to come in and tell me like, hey, this is how it looks from the outside
Yeah.
looking in, and it looks kind of rough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I want what's best for you.
Sometimes people are so blinded by like their situation. When I say blinded, like they can't even, no matter how much you're telling the person like, hey, it's better, you don't have to go through that, or you don't have to do that, they can't see that.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing, I learned that there is not really much that you could tell someone going through those kind of things, whatever it is. Not even just have to be abuse, they could just be going through a really hard time.
Mm-hmm.
They have to want to mentally, physically, and emotionally get out of that situation themselves. And I know that
True.
because I've been there.
True.
You know, you can't, like, I can feed you all the positivity, but if you don't want to do it for yourself, then I don't know. Like, that's where I'm kind of like, yeah, I could give you all the hope. I could be your biggest supporter. I could be your best friend, but you have to want to do it for you.
I think that's
Yeah.
that's hard to like watch your friends not do what's best for them
Yeah.
on top of your advice, but it's like you said, you can't force someone to do something they don't want to do.
But you're hopeful that they will.
But
Yeah,
at
but
that
you're hopeful
point, that's
that-
all
yeah.
you got at that point. Like,
But
I really
you're
hope
hopeful
you do
that
what's
they
best.
will.
I hope that the truth comes to light for
Yeah.
you. But I do think it's important to note that like sometimes being too positive, or like if a situation like outside of an abusive relationship is just bad, like it's okay to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this sucks right now, and like I'm gonna be upset for a while, and that's okay, because like I feel like with hope and positive thinking, like sometimes that negative side of it is like it'll try and just pretend like anger and sadness doesn't exist, and it's like those are important emotions we should feel, just like happiness and joy. So it's like acknowledging that like this is a tough time, and I'm going through a tough time, being hopeful that like I don't think that this will last forever, but then from there you have to put in the work to get past it.
We all about doing the work. I think that's what we talked about the most for like some of the points during this podcast, is just putting in the work on yourself, putting in the time, putting in the energy, and not letting anybody take that from you. You know what I'm saying? Loving yourself, knowing, you know, that there is light to every dark, or like at the end of every tunnel. Like, at least I believe. Like, I don't think that life is just all dark moments. Like, there is a light. You just gotta, like you said, be hopeful, have faith, and just know, you know, you gotta trust your process. I feel like I say that every day. I'm trying to trust my process. You gotta trust your process and where you are in life. So,
I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not the last question, but another question is, and I can answer this first if you want me to. Have there been times when hope has surprised you or exceeded your expectations?
Of like you
if
go
you
first.
Have, okay, I got you.
You go first. Yeah,
I got two things.
One, I was like, wait, what?
One's related to me. One's something that I literally just saw when I was on TikTok. But for me, when I moved back to Colorado, like, you know, it wasn't. I'm glad I did, and but it wasn't something that I wanted to do personally. Yeah. But I was like, let me just be hopeful, you know, everything turns out for the better. And I feel like now it's like I live in my own place. Yeah. I'm in a healthy relationship. Like, we have the podcast. Like, we have a good job. Like, but all this stuff, you know what I'm saying, was on the other side. Like, you know, I didn't know that this was going to happen. And so it's like, wow, like my life is starting to take the turn in the way I'm actively choosing it to, which is really nice. But a year or two ago, like, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that at all.
Dang.
And then the second one was, I was watching, Sketch is this streamer. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's really big. He's got a huge impact already. Yeah. But this guy was interviewing him, and he was like, yeah, I just prayed on it. He was like, I had no idea it was going to be streaming. I had no idea what was going to happen. He's like, I just prayed on it and hoped that everything would start to work out for me. And he's huge now. Yeah. And he gets to travel, and he's meeting these people, and he's having this really good time. And it's like, he was really like, I had no idea how it was going to happen, but I just let it happen organically, and now it's this beautiful thing. That's
what's up. I could definitely relate to him. What'd you say his name was? I want to remember. Sketch. Because there's so many times in life where I'm just like, prayer works. I don't care if people believe it, whether they don't believe it. I believe prayer works, and if you ask for what you want, then you shall receive it. Like, and there's been so many times in life where I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get this. I don't know how I'm gonna get here. Like, I can relate to you so much because I didn't really know if I wanted to move to Colorado, but all the good things that have come from me moving to Colorado, and how much happier and how much positive has come from just being hopeful, keeping faith. Like, I live a great life that I'm grateful for every single day. Yeah. 2 years ago, because I was happy last year too. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that for myself. Like, but I had no hope. Like, I wasn't thinking about keeping up the faith, or like, you know. So I can relate to that too. But yeah, prayer works. I just feel like you have to like ask for what you want, and you shall receive it. I definitely agree.
And on that point, I feel like it's important to note that like I pray too. Like, you know, I'm not very religious at all, and you are, but like I'll still pray. Like, I'll pray to the universe. I'll pray to whoever's willing to listen. Honestly, and I feel like it's important to note, like, I think I agree with you. Like, prayer works, even if you're not a Christian, if you're not ABCFG. Like, just putting it out into the universe makes it so much more real than just in your head. Yeah, and I think that helps. Even if it's just to like express something, opposed to like asking for something specific.
You may feel like you don't have anyone else to talk to, but if you sit down and, you know, I consider journaling praying too, because you may not be like necessarily talking to anybody, but you are getting out your emotions. You are like expressing how you feel. And one thing I want to touch on about praying is that, like, just because you don't receive it in that moment, that does not mean that it's not coming for you.
That's
you
very
know what
important.
I'm saying?
That's
We always
very
say our
important.
friend Zach's favorite quote, you know, just because you're not receiving what you want in that moment, that does not mean that it's not going to happen. It just may not be the right time for you.
Delayed does not mean denied.
And I think I love that so much. So remaining hopeful and understanding, like you said, that delayed does not mean denied. I think it can take you a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that you speak about the things that you want. Speaking them into existence.
Okay, how do you typically recharge and rejuvenate your spirits? What are some things that you do to make yourself feel better?
I was about to say a joke. You know me. Monday through Friday, I am a gym girly. I go to the gym quite a bit. That's what I'm doing to rejuvenate my spirit. I wake up early. I wake up at 5 a.m. because I believe that I don't want to go into my day with all these negative thoughts if I did have them. So I like to take the time to think about what I'm doing. I go to church every Sunday. That's me rejuvenating myself and making sure I'm understanding what I need, or making sure I'm understanding that I'm taking mental, personal time for myself. Because I believe if we don't talk about anything else, that is so important. Making sure that you make time for you and understanding how you feel and what you want.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
I think for me, I love being outside. I think being outside physically makes a lot of things better for me, and whether that be like sometimes on lunch, I'll just like walk up and down the block.
I ain't walking on lunch. I'm sitting down.
Tired of running around. But like, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I partake in the in the green stuff.
Yeah,
the devil's lettuce, you know what I'm saying? I think that helps me.
Yeah.
I think that hanging out with the people I like hanging around, you know, even if it's doing nothing.
Yeah.
Helps me feel like, okay, this is a lot of good things come from this, you know.
There's been times where like I probably wasn't feeling my best, but then I came to hang out with you guys, people I've met here, and just seeing you guys in a positive, you know, positive mood, positive vibe. Not really, you may be going through a lot, but you're not showing it, you know. That has taught me to be like, you know, just keep going. Like, you know, you have people who care about you, you have people who love you, no matter what you may be facing. Like, you know, you have people around you.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's important to know it's like I have free will to go at this full speed, because I know if I slip up, I got people who care about me who can help me get back up, you know. And so I think that keeps me positive for whatever goals and ambitions I have.
That's what's up. I like this episode because I feel like it is easy to, you know, focus on all the stuff that's going wrong, but remaining hopeful and positive about your future, I feel like that's such a big part of becoming like successful and, you know, navigating through life. So that's what's up. I agree.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's all I have for us, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the podcast for another episode. The Block PC. Again, my name is Dallas. My wonderful co-host, Robin. As always, thank you so much, Libby, our videographer, our editor, our everything, our knight in shining armor. Man, without her, we couldn't get this done. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We love y'all. Have an amazing week. Peace out.
Bye.